Welcome into the Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, as we are live from the Murphy Center, site of the TSSAA Girls High School State Basketball Championships. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We'll be here with you for the next couple of hours talking local, regional, and national sports, sort of like the game that just finished up here as Dyersburg handled White County 52-42 in a Class 3A state quarterfinal matchup. Third game thus far today here from the Glass House. We opened up with a South Gibson 43-39 win over Cott County, followed up by Heritage and MTSU Lady Raider signee Carson Swaney taking care of Portland 60-36. Here in the final 3A quarterfinal, we will have Jackson Southside and Northview Academy taking, well, one of them's taking the floor right now. I think that's Northview coming out. And there come the Lady Hawks of Jackson Southside. So, yeah, we are in full swing in Class 3A girls basketball state tournament action here. Wade?
Day two, exciting, but this is where, we separate the pros from the amateurs. If you can grind, find a way to grind through day two. And I'm not talking about the players and the coaches. We'll get to them. We'll get to them later. I'm talking about everybody else. The staff and the media presence that's here. This is the day where you kind of separate the haves from the have-nots. And so we're grinding through it. A couple extra cups of coffee. Got an energy drink close by. So by hook or by crook, I'm excited to be here, and I'm pumped for a big Thursday show.
Absolutely, man. I mean, you can see out, because, again, it is the Glass House. You can see outside, and it looks like a great day to be out there, but it's a great day to be in here, too. A lot of good stuff going on, a lot of great stuff going on across the sports world. We're going to get to a lot of it here over the next couple of hours. Again, in the second hour, we will be joined by CBS Sports bracketologist Jerry Palm. This is his time of year, and it's Thursday. The brackets come out on Sunday, and so he's grinding as well.
Yeah, he is a busy, busy boy. And, it's got to be interesting. They start doing these things so early. I mean, practically once the season starts. And it just feels like you have no idea, really. I want to ask maybe Jerry about that. How do you even attempt to forecast a bracket in November? But now we sharpen, and then here we are the week of Selection Sunday. And so this is kind of the final exam, if you will, in some regards for Jerry.
Speaking of exams, it kind of feels like the optometrist. Which is better, A or B?
Yeah,
one or two. You're sharpening things up, and Sunday we'll see if Jerry's got 20/20 vision or not.
These bracketologists, I don't know if they're in some secret club or society that we're not privy to, but it feels like more often than not they get pretty much everyone included in the field, and they basically darn near nail the bracket. So this is his time to shine. Joe was with us yesterday doing a great job, kind of giving a Nashville-based lens, but it'll be cool to step out and kind of get on the national stage tonight.
Absolutely. So we've got Jerry Palm coming in at 3:20 to talk a little bracketology. At 2:20, in the next segment, we will be joined by somebody who knows he's in the bracket.
Yeah.
Doesn't quite know where. But LENNIE ACUFF, Lipscomb men's basketball coach, will join us at 2:20 to talk about his NCAA tournament-bound Atlantic Sun Conference tournament champion, Bisons. Looking forward to that.
Should be fun. LENNIE's done such a great job throughout the course of his career, really, but obviously especially here recently with Lipscomb. And we talked about their ups, we talked about their downs, but it feels like they're kind of catching fire. And for a one-bid league, it all comes down to that conference championship week, and kudos to them for getting it done. So they feel like they got a lot of juice going into Selection Sunday, and that will be fascinating to talk to the head man.
Yeah, and here's the thing about Lipscomb. I don't think they're going to be happy just to be there,
right?
Nor should they be.
Yeah.
I think this is a team that, given the right matchup, might be able to do some damage. So
I think you're exactly right.
And I think LENNIE will agree with us when we speak with him here in a few minutes. So also going to talk some other hoops, some other tournaments going on, SEC, Conference USA, Big Ten, Atlantic Coast Conference. Some interesting events took place there earlier today. We got some NBA to talk about. Got Got some Titans stuff to talk about as free agency continues across the NFL. Some developments across the NFL in addition to the Titans. Little Major League Baseball, little golf. We're just going to kind of run the full gamut here over the next 2 hours on Main Street Sports today. And it is Throwback Thursday.
Yeah.
At the top of the second hour, we're going to throw it back to a great conversation that we had. I don't know that we've ever had a conversation that was not great with Cherie Kemp.
Oh, well, yeah, especially her.
Unlimited.
I thought you were just stopping right
in
there.
General,
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
no,
we're all great. I was ready to, toot our own horn there, but we could just turn off the mic and just let her kind of do what she does.
That's it.
And she could carry it off. But yes, fascinating times always when she's on the program.
Absolutely. Looking forward to revisiting that conversation. So that's what we got going on here for the next couple of hours. We should probably go ahead and
real quick, I do just want to give one quick shout out. I know we don't like to give free shout outs, but I do want to give one quick one because up here, we got here, relatively early this morning to get everything squared away for the show. There was one individual, and I got to give a special kudos to Deputy Greg Speck, who's with the Rutherford County Sheriff's Department. He has been up here watching our equipment. He's been watching some basketball, too, but he's been watching our equipment like a hawk and providing protection, essentially our personal bodyguards. So shout out to Deputy Speck, who was up here before we kick things off today.
Man, we appreciate Deputy Speck because
I don't know if he knows that we just gave him that, but it was well deserved.
That's okay. I mean,
all the equipment is still intact.
The equipment is intact and in one place and in one piece.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's big. Thank you, Deputy Speck. Much love. With that said, let's get to yesterday's results and today's schedule on the rundown.
This is the rundown.
Lock and load, boys and girls. Time to kick off the Thursday rundown. Let's wind it back to girls basketball scores from right here inside Murphy Center yesterday. Bo, the final score yesterday was Shelby Higgins 26, Copper Basin 25. Richland did score some more points than that, though. They win it 45-25, but Shelby single-handedly outscored Copper Basin. That was in a single-A quarterfinal. Other games, Gatlinburg-Pittman in the final contest, knocking off Summertown 50-36. Prior to that, in the afternoon in 2A action, it was Loretto 59, McMinn Central 48. Also,
we may have more on that one.
Yeah, we're efforting some stuff that we might want to share with our audience here. But some interesting clips is all we'll say about that.
A little spice.
A little spice here. 59-48 again, your final as Loretto knocks off McMinn Central. And capping yesterday's scores of local interest, it was Westview 48, East Nashville 30. There was baseball played yesterday. Here are the scores. Gallatin knocking off Austin, Alabama 15-6. Green Hill was a 10-1 winner versus Bob Jones, Alabama. Bob Jones took that personally and defeated CPA in their next game 4-3. Lebanon was a 12-3 winner versus CAK. Page 12, Centennial nothing. It was Eagleton Academy 6, Westmoreland 5. Lee Scott Academy out of Alabama defeating Friendship Christian 9-1. 9-0 as Gallatin knocks off MUS. Moore County defeats Culleoka 6-2. William Blunt with a 16-8 win versus Nashville Christian. Nolansville 16, Independence 15. A real baseball score. Hendersonville tops Oakland yesterday 6-1. Lewisburg out of Mississippi 18, Riverdale 14. Beach 12, Rockville 2. Science Hill was 11-3 winner versus Kirkwood, and it was Cleveland 5, Siegel 2, capping our baseball scores.
In softball action on Wednesday, it was Anderson County 6, Ezel Harding nothing. Summit 11, Anderson County 4. Blackman with a 15-5 win over Tullahoma. Coffee County Blanken Spring Hill 15-0. It was University School of Jackson 6, Gallatin 1. Murfreesboro Central defeated Laverne 17-2. Oakland with a 2-1 victory over DeKalb County. Rockvale downed East Robertson 11-2. Joe Burns and Rockvale play to a scoreless draw. Oh, scoreless tie, I guess. Draws are in soccer, right? Okay. And Battle Creek outlasted Santa Fe 13-12. On the pitch, Oakland with a 1-0 win over Cleveland. In women's college basketball action, second seed MTSU Open Conference USA tournament play with a 73-46 quarterfinal win over Kennesaw State down in Huntsville. In SEC men's basketball tournament action down at Bridgestone yesterday, Texas with a 79-72 win over Vanderbilt. And in the association last night, it was the homestanding Memphis Grizzlies 122, the Utah Jazz 115.
Let's go to today's schedule. We begin today's schedule with a score, but it was from today. It was earlier this morning as Heritage defeats Portland in the 3A quarterfinals. 60-36 was your final in that showdown. Let's get back into more baseball now with a 2:30 start time showing for Lebanon versus Kirkwood. Lewis County traveling to Lawrence County today. That one gets underway at 4 p.m. At 4:30, it'll be Fayetteville at Hampshire. Innsworth is taking on Hendersonville at 4:30. And Creekwood will take on Mount Juliet, capping our 4:30 showdowns. 5 o'clock start time for Columbia Academy, who's at Waverly. 6 p.m. start times for the following. Beach will be at Clarksville Academy. Cornersville is at Eagleville. Mount Juliet Christian traveling to the Middle Tennessee Monarchs. East Hickman is on the road at Mount Pleasant. Cookville is traveling to Siegel. Now into 6:30 first pitches as Giles County will play on the road tonight and will meet Battle Creek. Good showdown there between those two teams. Cleveland is on the road at Blackman. Santa Fe traveling to Hickman County. Macon County will be at Springfield. Clarksville Northwest is at Stewart's Creek. Upperman is on the road at Middle Tennessee Christian. And closing our scoreboard, 7 p.m. first pitches between Franklin Road Academy and Hendersonville. Murfreesboro Central Magnet at Jefferson County. Dixon County, who's at Oakland. Forest is traveling to Linville to take on the Richland Raiders. Columbia will visit Rockvale tonight. Don't have a start time listed, but keep your eyes peeled for Wayne County, who's at Loretto.
Softball action, 4:30, Springfield and Rockvale face off. Not sure where. Might be down on the beach. Columbia Academy travels to Bell Buckle, taking on the Lady Feet of the Webb School at 4:30. 5 o'clock starts for Eagleville at Blackman. Columbia Central at East Hickman. Frank Hughes at Santa Fe. Warren County at Spring Hill. And Mount Pleasant at Hickman County. At 5:30, Richland is at Battle Creek. Also, Lawrence County is at Marshall County. Murfreesboro Central hosts Franklin County at 5:30. Forest goes to Riverdale. At 6, it's Westmoreland at Gatlinburg-Pittman. Smyrna is at Cookville at 6:30. Also at 6:30, Ravenwood is at Siegel. South Haven Christian travels to Zion Christian for a 6:30 start. And at 7:30, it's Dobbins-Bennett and Rockvale.
Men's soccer action this evening. We kick it off with Columbia Academy playing host to Richland. Again, at 6 p.m., most of these matchups getting underway, including Marshall County at Culleoka. Agathos Christical. I did it again, Mo. Agatha Christie on the brain here. Like I said, Murder on the Orient Express, I guess. Agathos Classical at Forest at 6 o'clock tonight. I'll try and get that one next time. Battle Creek will be at Loretto. Coffee County is at Spring Hill. That caps the 6 o'clock start times. A token 6:30 start tonight between Riverdale at Rockvale. 7 p.m. kickoffs between White House at Hendersonville. Dixon County on the road at Laverne. Springfield at Macon County. Antioch will travel to Stewart's Creek. And Smith County will visit Wilson Central. In men's college basketball tonight, getting underway at 8 p.m. Approximated start time of 8 p.m. Conference USA action between Louisiana Tech versus MTSU. You can see that game on ESPN Plus down in Huntsville, Alabama. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the Thursday schedule, and that concludes the Thursday rundown.
Our top story is brought to you, as always, by Piggly Wiggly in Neely's Mill in Columbia. Be sure and check out their delicious deli lunch options available from 11 a.m. until 6 p.m. Also, their hand-cut meats and everything is cost plus 10% at the cash register. Piggly Wiggly, Neely's Mill, Columbia, bringing you our top story. And if you are a sports fan, and considering that you are listening to or watching this show, I'm pretty sure you are, you have probably heard about the indoor track and field incident that took place on the campus of Liberty University up in Lynchburg, Virginia here recently, where during a relay race, a runner was struck by a baton being held by a competitor coming out of the backstretch in the curve, the final curve, I think, of what looked like maybe a 4x2, something like that.
Yeah.
Again, You've seen it. Authorities in Virginia have seen it as well, and said baton wielder has been charged with assault and battery. Alayla Everett from Norcom High School in Virginia has been charged. She was charged yesterday. Yeah, it was. It was the second leg of the 4x2 meter relay race at the Virginia State High School League Indoor State Championships on March 4th. When was March 4th? Is that Saturday?
You put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
I've slept since then.
On March 4th, whenever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brookville High School junior Kaylin Tucker was hit in the back of the head by Everett. I like the way they word this passive tense. She was hit in the back of the head by the baton. Not Everett hit her in the back of the head, but she was hit.
She was struck by the baton.
Yeah. Kaylin Tucker suffered a concussion and possibly a fractured skull. Again, the video is out there. I think we might have it on an article here, but the the alleged assaulter, Everett, says that it was accidental and they got caught up and Tucker was in her lane and all of this other stuff. But if you have seen the video, it's tough to believe anything other than this was intentional.
Certainly feels, it's got all the familiar symptoms of a little active aggression there. And court will, kind of ultimately play this out, but that's, if the internet is to be believed, at least, it feels like we kind of already have a little bit of our answer.
As we got around the curve, she kept bumping me in my arm. When we finally got off the car, I slowly started passing her, and she hit me with a baton. That was Tucker's quote, summing up the situation. She was touching me to the point where I was pumping my arm and the baton was hitting my arm. I lose my balance, my whole body turns, and then I pump my arm, so she got hit. That's Everett's summation of the situation. Again, that's not the story the video tells.
Not the story the video tells. And, man, this is tough, right? Because we're talking about high-level competition. Not only is the race now, essentially marred by controversy, but I mean, if you wanted to square up, I mean, I feel there's different ways to go about doing that. It feels a little cheap in some regards. So, man, this is one, like you said, it picked up national attention almost instantly, going viral on the web, and it feels like this will kind of continue, and it definitely does not look promising toward the alleged assailant there.
It does not, and it's really unfortunate that something like this takes place, man. Who have I got here?
Legends.
It is TSSAA 2025 Hall of Fame, the Thomas Ray Frierson making it. Get down here where folks can see you. We don't have a mic for you, unfortunately, but Thomas Ray Frierson, who has long been an official in the southern Middle Tennessee area, joining us here on Main Street Sports today. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine. Glad to be here and to witness this occasion.
Now, as long as we got you, this is a nice little stretch for the Frierson family because Toby Frierson will be on the floor next week.
That's correct. He was selected to work the boys Division I this year, 2025. We are happy about that as well.
So you got him next week. The son and another one of your proteges, Dexter Brown, has been working this week with the girls, and then Randy McNeese from your association worked the D2 tournament up in Cookville last week. So you've sent some good ones. Not everybody can necessarily say that.
Well, thank you. We strive to lift the officiating to another level, and we maintain to send guys up here, guys and gals, to the state tournament that are qualified. So we're happy to have Randy and Dexter and Toby to be our representatives this year.
Awesome. Again, congratulations on your upcoming induction into the TSSAA Hall of Fame. Great honor for you.
Thank you, sir. We're humbled and honored to receive that.
Very, very deserved, and I'm looking forward to that becoming official. So, and I'm looking forward to what you'll be wearing, because you're always dapper, man. So I don't know if you'll be picking something up or if you've got something in the closet already, or what the plan is for that. But I'm looking forward to seeing what you come out in.
Well, I will check with my designer,
your wardrobe consultant.
There you go, and make sure that I'll have something appropriate to wear.
Oh, I have no doubt it'll be appropriate. Thomas Ray Frierson joining us here on Main Street Sports today. We appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Talk to you.
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and head to a break here on Throwback Thursday. When we return, we will be joined by Lipscomb men's basketball coach LENNIE ACUFF on Coach's Corner. Stick around.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Step into the Lionel retail store at Opry Mills, Nashville, and you'll be captivated by all the magic of the 123-year history of Lionel trains. Whether you're already a train enthusiast or just getting started, Lionel will energize your love for trains. NASCAR fan? Come check out your local Lionel station to learn all there is to know about model trains and die-cast NASCAR collectibles. Visit nashville.lionel.com or call 615-455-9399.
Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
So Busy Bee is a very close-knit family. We fight just like every family does. We have arguments, but we always come out with a solution to the problems. We don't just fight about what we want, we fight about what customers need. We want to make sure that every customer we go to is more than satisfied. And that doesn't just start whenever we show up at their door, that starts when we show up every day at work. We want to make sure that we are serving our customers to the best of our ability.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We are coming to you live from the Murphy Center site of the TSSAA Girls High School State Basketball Championships. And right here in the final Class 3A quarterfinal matchup, Northview Academy and Jackson Southside are tied at 2. Southside looks like they're getting ready to shoot some free throws, though, here about midway through the opening quarter. We're pleased to be joined here on Coach's Corner now by, speaking of tournaments, NCAA tournament bound Lipscomb men's basketball coach LENNIE ACUFF. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, how are y'all?
We're doing well. We're doing well. Not as well as you are.
Yeah.
But we're doing well. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, man. Like you guys are at a good spot. There's nothing like Tennessee high school.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a fun time of year, fun to be involved in it, and it's especially fun when you're winning. And I'll tell you, Coach, I was just going to your website to get some particulars on y'all, and the first thing I saw was an award that one of your guys is up for, and a pretty prestigious award. Will Pruitt, the former Mount Juliet standout, has been named a finalist earlier today, looks like, for the 2024-25 Nolan Richardson Award for the players who are the heart and soul of their team. And I would imagine anytime that you are being mentioned with a legend such as Coach Richardson, this award is presented by collegeinsider.com. And, you know, to have one of your guys up for something like that acknowledges such a titan of the game as Coach Richardson, got to be a great honor for y'all.
Yeah, if there's ever been an award that Will Pruitt is right in. Will has just he has been rock solid every single day. He's about all the right things. And that description you just gave is Will Pruitt. His picture should be sitting by that honor every year.
You know, that's fantastic. And again, just anything that acknowledges Coach Richardson and to be mentioned alongside that's got to be a great honor just to be a finalist for that award. But, you know, again, you guys won a great ball game on Sunday to punch your ticket to the NCAA tournament, knocking off North Alabama at your place. The second NCAA tournament appearance for this program since going NCAA Division I, the other coming back in 2018, and obviously got to be ecstatic over getting this team into this field of 68.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Maurice. We had Sunday was a great day for a school. I mean, we had an incredible environment, high-level basketball game. We had to beat a really good North Alabama team. Both teams played very, very hard. They brought a bunch of people up from Florence, and it was the way college basketball is supposed to be. And to say that I'm happy for our players would be the understatement of all time. That they are the best kids. I mean, this is as good a group of kids as I've had in my 35 years. And I've had some as good, but I don't think I've had any better. That's just in terms of character, substance, buy-in, willing to make sacrifices. They're the kind of team you want to see succeed.
Coaches, you kind of have navigated this season. It's been a little bit of up, a little bit of down, but man, it certainly seems like you guys have found a new stretch of momentum here. Was there a particular moment, or is there a particular thing you can point to with your team that's got you playing some of your better ball as you enter the big dance next week?
Well, we started with 4, but one of those was a 1-point loss to Belmont. We lost by 2 at Middle Tennessee. We're down 4 at Arkansas with 4 minutes to go. But since that time, we from that point on, we really started playing well. And then we midway through our conference season, we lost Dylan Faulkner after our 4th conference game. And Dylan's a 6'9", really, really good athlete, probably the most talented young kid in our league. I thought he's the best 5-man. And we lost him after 4 games. And it took us a little while to figure out how to play without him. And so I really feel like the last month we've kind of found our niche and our rotation and how it needs to look. And I think that's a direct reflection of how well we've played. It's just Charlie Williams has done a great job stepping in for him. He's a transfer from William & Mary. And then our 4 fifth-year seniors, Joe Anderson, Will Pruitt, Jossie Powell, and Jacob Obnakovich have all stepped up, and they're playing big minutes and carrying a big burden.
Coach, you made a point, and I don't know how many people really realize how hard it is when you've got somebody that you've counted on, that you've depended on, that you know is going to be a piece of the puzzle like a Dylan Faulkner, to lose them and have to try to figure things out on the fly without them. That's not a simple process.
No, and our 5-man offense almost every time down. And what he had done for us guys is we've been a top 10% in the country offense really for the last 2 or 3 years. We hadn't been very good on defense, and we worked really hard at it. Well, Dylan gave us incredible rim protection. He gave us one-shot defense. He could go get rebounds nobody else got. So we really, as much as anything, had to figure it out on the defensive end. What did our ball screen covers need to look like? How do we need to schematically play our defense? And because he moved the needle on that end of the floor. He was a guy, if they got by one of our guys, he would just block it. And we lost that in one swoop. And so I'm really proud of our team. I'm proud of the kind of young men they are. And I'm hopeful as we go into next week that we can go play well. I mean, I know we're going to have a tough task no matter who it is. I mean, we're going to be playing the top 20 team in the country. And anytime you do that, it's really difficult. But it's also a great opportunity. And it's an opportunity for us to go play well with no pressure. I mean, all the pressure was in the conference tournament. I mean, that is at this level, when you're in a one-bid league, the conference tournament is brutal. And I mean, it makes it tough. I mean, you're at the state tournament, and I guess in the state of Tennessee, they can still lose twice and get to Murfreesboro. Correct?
3 times.
Three times technically, Coach.
So you don't play, when you're playing the postseason game with a gun to your head, that's a tough deal now, and there's no mulligan in the bag. And so to get through that, I felt like even when we were really down and out against Queens, we were down 10 with 7 minutes to go. And for us, once we kind of got through that, I didn't know if we could win on Sunday, but I thought we would play better, and we did.
Yeah, it kind of works as a wake-up call, I would imagine. When you come that close to losing it, you certainly don't want to put yourself in that position again. But, Coach, we've talked on a weekly basis with Joe Sullivan of Main Street Media talking about local hoops, and we've discussed you all a lot. And Jacob Ognanovic's name has come up a lot in those discussions. But besides him, it's kind of been a rotating cast of characters for you. This past week, it was Joe Anderson, who you mentioned a little bit ago. But talk about how dangerous that makes you going into this situation, because you do have a lot of guys who have stepped up. You've got a lot of guys who don't mind the big moment.
Well, we're experienced. I think, sometimes there's some common denominators in teams that have a chance to win a game in the NCAA tournament. Most of the time it starts with experience, and particularly experience in the backcourt. So we start 3 fifth-year senior guards, Joe Anderson, Will Pruitt, and Giassi Powell. We also can shoot the basketball. And then we have a player that can move the needle in Jacob Ognanovich. I mean, he scored 18 at Kentucky. He had 30 at Middle Tennessee, or 32 at Middle Tennessee. I mean, he's been remarkably consistent. And so, it's one of those things going into it, guys, that we know we're going to have to play really well. We're going to have to make threes, and you have to hope the team you play doesn't have their best day. But if that can happen, who knows? You don't have to beat them 4 or 5 times. One time. And
one
so
time. One time. And Coach, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I mean, you guys are being projected as a 13. Maybe you sneak up to a 12 or something like that. Maybe you wind up a 14. But those are seeds that have won games recently in the NCAA. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Well, I hope you're right, Maurice. We would sure like to have a crack at it. Whether or not I know this, if you're in that spot, that's very difficult. I mean, that's a very, very, very difficult ask. And it's a very difficult ask at 13 or 14 or even 12. But, you look at those top 8 teams in the country. I mean, my goodness, a bunch of them are playing right down the street here this week. And that is those are some awfully good teams with a lot of talent.
Coach, speaking of big asks, we heard a story on the show yesterday, and you mentioned Will Pruitt already. Can you break down what happened as Will popped the ultimate question on campus earlier this year?
That was a big ask.
Will is a man of nerves of steel.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, no doubt. He first off, Will Pruitt is an incredible young man, and the young lady he's engaged to now, Jalen Holcomb, is equally of substance and character. She's a sweetheart. And, that's Kelly Holcomb's daughter that played with the Titans and the Browns. And Kelly's a really good guy. But we won the league on Monday night. We clinched first place on Wednesday night. No, I'm sorry. Monday night, we played Austin Peay. We won. We had to play on Wednesday. Well, Will decides he's going to get engaged at center court in between all that. And so he brings her out, and he did a good job. Now, he stowed a lot of good. Jalen had no idea. The best part of it was when Jalen said, "Oh my goodness, please tell me, Dad." And he had about a month earlier had talked to them, and had asked permission. But that shows you what kind of young lady she is. She was wanting to make sure that her dad had approved.
And I think it's safe to say, Coach, if a guy like that has got those kind of nerves, you feel pretty confident in what he could do on a big stage in the NCAA tournament. And everything else should be kind of easy from there, right?
No doubt, guys. We know that old boy. He hossed up. Yeah, he's a keeper now. We're gonna miss Will Pruitt every single day next year. I mean, I've been here 6 years. He's been here 5. I mean, we had 1 year where I walked in the locker room, Will Pruitt wouldn't be in there. He's been my security blanket, and so. I've told a lot of people, I don't know what the Mount Rushmore of Lipscomb Division I basketball is, but he's got a spot on it.
Coach, we got word a couple of weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago, that this will be Jacob's final season. He's going to be leaving and jumping into the transfer portal whenever you guys are wrapped up. And it struck me as an interesting dynamic there for you all to have that conversation while the season was ongoing, and to make it public while the season was ongoing that he's going to be stepping away from you all whenever you're done. You know, what was the impetus behind handling it that way?
Well, it was pretty much agreed upon when he decided to come back. He would come back for 1 more year. That was, he graduated last spring, and he could have went in the portal last year with 2 years coming off an all-conference year the year before, and he would have been a high commodity. But he said, no, Coach, I want to come back. I want to finish with this group of seniors, and I want to have a chance to win a championship. And, he's already graduated, guys. He's working on his master's. He was a player of the year. We won the league. We're going to the NCAA tournament. And a lot of people think he's leaving for money. That's not why he's leaving. I think he wants to see if he can play at the highest level. He has big dreams. And I would be disappointed in myself if I tried to talk him out of that. I mean, obviously, if he wants to come back to Lipscomb, we'd love to have him. We'd do everything we could to keep him. But when a kid's done everything you've asked of him for 4 years, and he's got his degree, and he's been an incredible teammate, incredible in the locker room, never been one problem off the court, I pull for him, because, guys, now I will tell you this, some of the money you hear is a little exaggerated. It is. I know that for a fact.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys at the high level, they're making life-changing money. And, I mean, for a young man his age to be able to go and have X amount of dollars in his bank account, I mean, think about what a started life that is. Mm-hmm. And and so go do it. And, we would love to have him back, but it's pretty much agreed upon situation, even like that he was coming back.
Great. Coach, we appreciate you taking some time with us this afternoon. I know the last time we had you on, you wanted to talk some Braves. I don't know that I'm quite ready to talk Braves just yet because I don't know that I want to talk about them until Acuna and Strider get going. And so we may have to try to get you back on this summer and do that. But we'll certainly be watching the reveal show on Sunday and looking for y'all's name, and wish you the best of luck wherever y'all wind up next week.
Really nice of you asked. Hope you have a great week.
Now, Wade's got one more.
Thank you, Coach. And our good buddy Jason Latch, he and I are going to bring you a good luck sun drop. We know that's one of your favorites. So we'll send you off into the big dance. Right. All right, Coach?
Hey, Wade, here, I'm going to tell you this real quick, and I'm going to hop off. They asked me what I did to celebrate on Sunday night. And my wife and I, every Sunday night, we get pizza, and it's the one time a week I drink a sun drop. And so when we won on Sunday night, she said, what do you want to do? I said, I want to get pizza and I want a bottle of sun drop. And that's what we did. So, my man, there's nobody better than Jay Lash. Jay Lash just got the head coaching job at Bryan College.
Breaking news on the show. He's moving up in the world, and we knew your affinity for sun drop from his time on your staff at Lipscomb. So that's got to be almost – I feel like there's a sponsorship in the making for the men's basketball program at Lipscomb and sun drop now.
Somehow, some way that we
we can make that work for you, Coach. And we appreciate your time as always.
Thank you so much. I hope you have a great night.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right.
Before we get out of this segment, we need to give away a couple of weekly awards. First of all, our Custom Stone Handlers In to Win Life Team of the Week award goes to the Columbia Central Lady Lions softball team. They opened the season last week with a couple of convincing victories. When I say convincing, I'm talking 15-0 and 21-0, both over Lawson out of Nashville. So 36-0 in their opening 2 games of the season as the Columbia Central Lady Lions get off to a roaring start there. They are our Custom Stone Handlers In to Win Life Team of the Week. Besides the military, there is no greater team building experience in athletics. Custom Stone Handlers invites you to get in the game. Congrats to John McDonald and his Lady Lions over at Columbia Central. Our Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia Athlete of the Week this week is Battle Creek sophomore, because that's all they got is sophomores and freshmen at the first year of school. But Battle Creek sophomore Junior Mathis went 8 for 13 in the opening week of the season, hitting .615 in 4 games. Of those 8 hits, 5 were for extra bases, including the first home run in Battle Creek Grizzlies baseball history. So congratulations to Junior Mathis, the Battle Creek sophomore catcher / first baseman / designated hitter. He is our Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia Athlete of the Week. And again, Columbia Central Softball is our Custom Stone Handlers In to Win Life Team of the Week. Congrats to both. Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by TOA of Columbia. When we come back, we'll talk a little hoops. Stay tuned.
Only in Smashville are opponents welcomed with some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality. We'll give you a hand, cheer you on. Hey, we'll even leave a light on.
At Delta Dental of Tennessee, we know our success begins and ends with providing superior quality service, and that includes serving those who need it most. This year, we're celebrating 25 years of giving back to the community we call home. Delta Dental, along with our Smile 180 Foundation, supports Tennessee's dental colleges and oral health education, children's hospitals, free and reduced cost dental clinics, and other like-minded charities. Here's to the next 25 plus years of ensuring healthy smiles.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Throwback Thursday continues here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. At the top of the second hour, we'll be throwing it back to a recent conversation that we had with Cherie Kemp of Athletes Unlimited, talking a little pro basketball, the season that they just finished here in Nashville, and the season that we'll be getting here in Nashville next year.
Cranking right back up, man.
Absolutely. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to revisiting that conversation with Cherie at the top of the hour. Right now, let's talk a little basketball, specifically out of the SEC, where the tournament continues down at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. Where are we at? What we got going on down at Bridgestone?
Quiet at the moment.
Quiet at the moment.
For now.
Okay. All right.
But in many regards, this is kind of the calm before the storm, right? We haven't seen any shocking results. Maybe unless you're a Vanderbilt fan, you might not be too happy with what happened to your doors there. But it feels like this is what we're building towards. And Friday, Saturday, Sunday should be electric in that place.
Well, we've got an in-state rivalry coming up here just short of the top of the hour. Texas and Texas A&M are scheduled to tip off at 2:52. In the opener at Bridgestone, Ole Miss with an 83-80 win over Arkansas. Sounds like a barn burner, man.
Yeah, it would have been nice for Hogs fans if they could have kind of kept that momentum rolling. Ole Miss, I'm still not sure what to make of them. It feels like they can beat anybody and feels like they can lose to anybody, although I guess you could say the same about Arkansas.
Former Vanderbilt, former Belmont athlete Malik Dia with a team-high 19 points and 8 boards for Ole Miss in that win. I wonder if maybe he just didn't give himself a chance at Vanderbilt once he didn't play as much as he wanted to. He went to Belmont, had a great year last year, bounced back up to the SEC, and has been impactful all year for Chris Beard and Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to take the long road, right, or a roundabout way. And he certainly has been fantastic. And if you're a Vanderbilt fan, you're looking at what you're seeing now, and you're like, hey, where was that a couple of years ago?
Right.
Jerry Stackhouse is thinking, where was that a couple of years ago? Could have used some of that. But,
he used a lot of that.
He's playing at a high level. I don't know that Ole Miss necessarily – it doesn't feel like they have the goods to really make a deep run in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But, man, who knows? We've talked all year long. This league feels like more than ever it's kind of wide open. Maybe especially when Auburn is at their best, they can't be beat. But everybody else, it feels like they got a real good shot from here on out.
Absolutely. Again, Texas and Texas A&M will play the next game in the evening session down at Bridgestone. You got Mississippi State and Missouri, both another couple of teams that have beaten some folks you wouldn't have expected them to, have lost to some folks you wouldn't have expected them to. But they play the early game in the evening session. And in the nightcap, it's Oklahoma and Kentucky, who played a thriller out in Norman during the regular season.
Yeah, a couple of great matchups. Like I said, these are kind of your final few little warm-ups, in a sense, not diminishing any of the teams. The one team you really got to keep eyes on, Texas, who bracketmatrix.com, I looked it up yesterday when we were on with Joe Mo. They had one vote on bracketmatrix.com, which aggregates all of the polls. They had one vote. They only picked up a couple, but they did pick up a couple. They are just kind of right outside the bubble at the moment. If they could beat Texas A&M, you get the feeling that swell will kind of continue. If they can win, too, you feel really, really good about their chances. But if you can win tonight, you at least give yourselves a compelling argument.
Absolutely. Down at Huntsville, you've got New Mexico State and Kennesaw State playing the early men's matchup. That's at 5:30. You can see it on ESPN+. That's number 4 Kennesaw, number 5 New Mexico State. The nightcap down there at 8 o'clock is number 6 Louisiana Tech, who swept number 3 Middle Tennessee State during the regular season. MTSU is a 1.5-point favorite in that ball game, and I'm not sure why.
To me, Vegas says we know MTSU is probably, quote-unquote, the better team. We just haven't seen it in this matchup. And so they put you in this weird spot, the Vegas zone, you kind of call it, where you kind of sense, all right, you start believing one side or the other. I'm going to have to stay away from this game because it just feels like certain teams have other teams' number. We know we talk a lot about it's hard to beat a team 3 times. But sometimes a team's just got your number. And man, whatever Louisiana Tech's got right now, it just feels like they have MTSU's kind of number at the moment.
Just does not feel like a good matchup for the Blue Raiders.
Two good big men on display, down low tonight. And kind of, as Chip said, two different somewhat play styles. But if you're a fan of kind of, the big man game, that'll be one you will definitely want to watch at 8 p.m. this evening.
Speaking of big men, Oliver Miller, former Arkansas big man who spent 9 seasons in the NBA, a lot of those with the Sacramento Kings, passed away last night at the age of 54. Cause of death was not disclosed, but apparently there had been an event honoring their 1990 Final Four team here recently that where it was disclosed that Miller was battling cancer. If you were watching during that stretch, and Big O was a fan favorite for a number of reasons. One was he was 6'9", 280-ish. That was probably pretty gracious. But 2, Big O could play, man. I mean, again, 9 seasons in the NBA. That wasn't just a novelty, Dude had a sweet jumper, and if you went down inside, you knew you were going to get bounced around when he was down there. Averaged 12 points, 6.5 rebounds, and again helped Arkansas to the Final Four in 1990. He was Southwest Conference. Google it. Player of the Year in 91. Before moving on to the professional ranks. Went number 22 overall to Phoenix in 1992, played for the Suns, Pistons, Raptors, Mavericks, Kings, and Timberwolves. The Raptors held a moment of silence for him prior to their game last night against the Sixers. They took him as their final pick in the expansion draft in 1995. Again, Oliver Miller passed away yesterday at the age of 54, and certainly wanted to acknowledge that, because if you were watching college basketball back through the late 80s, early 90s, Big O was one of those figures that you were fascinated by.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of not just a gimmick like you said, but you kind of can't help but watch. And every so often there are characters like that. And one thing for sure, at a school, Arkansas just is one of those places, they may not, obviously those were some really, really good teams then, but, they may not always be in the super duper national spotlight, but they absolutely adore and love their athletes on campus. And he's right up in there, named an SEC legend in 2017, and he's in their Hall of Honor as well. Man, will be missed, not just for the novelty, but also the game.
Absolutely. I mean, and that Final Four team that he was on in 1990 kind of set the tone, the foundation for that 94 national championship team.
Yeah, kind of laying the groundwork. And, man, there was some really good teams. And you already mentioned Coach Richardson earlier on the show. So, I mean, that harkens back to
two Nolan Richardson mentions in one show. I'll take that.
That harkens back to some real glory days for that program. And it'll be interesting to see if Arkansas, they're kind of smack dab in the thick of things in the SEC pseudo bubble conversation. They should be in, but we'll see. But yeah, they love those guys, and that's one fan base that is really rabid. It feels like about their sports.
Without question, yeah. We'll certainly get to ask Jerry Palm about Arkansas's viability in the field of 68 when we get him on here in the next hour. As we continue talking little hoops at the collegiate level, so Minnesota and Northwestern played in an early round Big Ten tournament matchup last night. Northwestern wins that game 72-64. Minnesota gets back to campus, and Ben Johnson is apprised by athletics director Mark Cole that his fourth season would be his last. Minnesota finished 15-17 on the year. And kudos to the Minnesota Athletics Media Relations Department, because the news of Johnson's dismissal went up on their website at 1:07 a.m.
Yeah, that's under the cover of darkness.
And went out on social media at 1:19.
Probably not many reshares, at that point in time. You can run, but you can't hide. But yeah, I see what you're doing there. You got to do what you got to do.
I guess, man. I mean, I don't know why you couldn't have waited until the morning. You could have let that man sleep,
Yeah. Anytime, Lane Kiffin knows about this, but anytime, you're on either meeting on the airport or shortly after you get back from the airport, it's usually not good.
It's not good, no. I guess it kind of goes back to that Jeremy Foley saying, though, what should be done eventually must be done immediately.
Yeah.
Even if immediately is 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. And I'll be interested to see what's next for him. I've watched a few Minnesota games over, the last couple of seasons with him there, and they've been relatively competitive. To me, this kind of signifies, though, at least to the administration of Minnesota, they're not content with just being competitive. They haven't made the tournament since 2019. They'd like to kind of maybe go upward. Seemed like a solid, if at a different school, that's probably good enough to get by. But this kind of says that Minnesota's got bigger aspirations.
Absolutely. 56-71 in Johnson's 4 seasons. So maybe they just kind of felt like the writing was on the wall and it was best to go ahead and cut ties at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Let's take a break here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. When we continue Throwback Thursday on the other side of this break, we'll be throwing it back to a recent conversation with Cherie Kemp of Athletes Unlimited Pro Basketball. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vilay Saisuka, CEO and founder of Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee here in Murfreesboro. We offer foot and ankle care from ingrown toenails to diabetic foot wounds. We also fix ankle fractures and things like that.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
the journey begins with happy feet.
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today. Custom Stone Handler supplies over 600 distributors and suppliers with quality stone products. Along with River Stone, we produce and distribute over 100 building, landscape, and other bulk products. Our goal is to provide quality products, service, and partnerships to ensure our customers' success. We firmly believe that the measure of any person or company is how they treat other people and customers. Give them a call at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Pleased to have with us at this time Cherie Kemp of Athletes Unlimited. We got the news right as we were getting ready to go off Friday afternoon that AU Pro Basketball will be returning to Nashville for 2026. Great news, and clearly an indication that, Cherie, y'all liked what you saw this year.
Yeah, I think it was really great news, real exciting news. Once I found out, I was kind of couldn't wait for everyone else to hear it. But definitely, you hit the nail on the head. We had a great time in Nashville. Nashville had a great time with Athletes Unlimited, and so on top of all that success, it was easy for us to say we were coming back, and it seemed easy for Nashville as well.
Now, take me through the chronology once again. You all were in Vegas last year, is that right?
So we launched in Vegas in 22. Then we went to Dallas for 2 years, 23 and 24.
Okay.
And then we left Dallas. We had one more option year left remaining there, and thought about leaving, looked at a few places, then started sort of leaning into Nashville, and that's where we ended up.
Okay. And you said that the plan had originally been prior to the pandemic to open in Nashville, right?
We were going to open volleyball here. So the very first season of volleyball happened at January, February of 2021. And that was public. It was announced. It was everything. I think we announced it in August of 2020 that we were coming. And then the pandemic hit and the tornadoes hit. And so the Municipal Auditorium, which was our venue, ended up being converted into a women's shelter. And so we went out looking, and that's when we saw Dallas for volleyball. And then that ended up being a venue for us for basketball and volleyball for a bit.
Okay. So finally got here. And again, I guess it was everything that you all expected and more, huh?
It really was. I think there was a lot of anticipation around Nashville, and we care a whole lot about the experience that the players have, and our player executive committee was looking real hard at what will this be like for our player group, and where will we stay, and will that be fun, and how easy will it be to get around. And so we have, I will tell you, we have a tremendous operations team. And internally, I think that we have a fantastic team, period. But you're always going to need, with the nature and the style and the design of Athletes Unlimited, it's critical that we have a high quality partner that's going to engage with us as a location, care about us being there, and help us be there, and help make sure that the experience for the athletes and the fans is a positive one. And we did exactly that here in Nashville.
Sheree, this is a radio show, so we kind of got to ask the question similar or like this, but give us a grade, if you will, from was it a home run with the connection with Nashville? Obviously, it was well enough to get a second run at it here, but I'm curious, from the start to the finish, how did it go in your mind?
Yeah, so it's great question, fun question, and an easy one to answer here. Just following up basketball, it was a home run, Wade. It was when we started talking to Nashville and planning, we felt it right away. We brought athletes in, and I'll give our staff a lot of credit too, our folks that are helping with the planning. But when we started bringing athletes in, we were welcomed by the Nashville Soccer Club, the Titans, the Predators, the Grand Ole Opry. We brought, players in, and we're backstage. Michael Bublé was over there that night. And so just really not just, everybody's like, what is the city of Nashville? Is it the CVB? What is it? It was really all the parts, and the professional sports themselves really opened their arms and their doors to us. And we held a National Girls and Women in Sports Day breakfast at the Titan Stadium, in conjunction with them and partners. So it was, even before we got here, it felt like the red carpet was rolled out. And then once we came, very early on, we had a kids' day. We broke attendance records. Our numbers are up. The data in every category is increased. And so we saw that turnout. A lot of times we saw people going to a Vanderbilt basketball game, or a Belmont basketball game, or a Lipscomb or whatever, and then they'd come right to us after that. And you'd say, what's going on? Long day of women's basketball, but people were tickled about it.
I'm also curious, and there may not be an easy way to answer it, but for you guys as an organization, which part of that is more important, the fan engagement and the overall numbers, or kind of getting the backing, whether it's infrastructure citywide or obviously the tie-ins with other professional franchises in the market? Because it seems like both kind of are really necessary.
Yeah, and they really go hand in hand. So clearly we're in business and we want to be successful there. So we care about those statistics being positive. And especially, it's just like anything, it's that, that mentality of an athlete of going to practice and getting 1% better. I think we have that in our business. We want to make sure that we're getting better every time we go out. And we're realists, and we know that that's going to happen in smaller steps and not the leaps and bounds. But those are things we're looking for. So those are important. And the partnership and who you have on the ground is going to affect that in our situation. So we are not, we don't go on for 6 months, and we don't really plant in a city. We're really just kind of visitors. We're bringing an event to town. And so that city partnership is huge.
Sheree Kemp of Athletes Unlimited joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. And Sheree, as you were just saying, you're not a year-round fixture in Nashville, but since you all are coming back for 26, how visible will you all be during the off season? Is there a plan for that yet, or do you know what that'll look like yet?
Yeah, I was talking with one of the marketing people last night at a sort of an after gathering, and she was saying right away, I'm going to take a deep breath, and then, we're going to hit the ground running in Nashville for 2026. So I think it starts right now, and I think we will have that presence. And of course, we had some local people. We had Izzy and Dory Harrison. We had Alicia Clark. So I think we had some great advantages to be able to have some fantastic players and be able to bring them home to audiences that recognize them and knew them when. So I think the more and more you see those players sign, they don't have to necessarily be local. There aren't a lot of people in the world that you say, how about coming to Nashville, Tennessee? And they go, nah, done that. Most people are ready to go. So it's not a hard sell. So I think that you will see us, long answer to your question, Maurice, but really.
That's okay. It's radio. We need long.
I think you're going to see us throughout the year. Bigger and better. I mentioned some of the things we did leading up to this, but I think you'll see us bigger and better than we were as we go along.
Wade, when's a good time for your nugget? Is this it, or should we continue and then come back?
You guys going to put me in the Tennessee Hall of Fame, Basketball Hall of Fame?
Yeah, that takes a Brad Willis. That takes a Brad Willis sign off. I'm sorry.
I'll hold that. I'll hold that till after we depart. But we do got a good local nugget, so stick around if you want, Sheree. Okay. We'll maybe tease your brain there a little bit. But I am curious, how easy is year 2 in your mind going to be, considering you kind of already have a game plan and kind of have the infrastructure part kind of dialed in?
So good. It's so good. And this league, if you look at the history, the only sport that's stayed in one place has been softball in terms of that championship season that we had. That's now the All-Star Cup. It's been in Rosemont. We launched it there in Rosemont, Illinois, right outside of Chicago, and it's been there every single year. But otherwise, the other sports, lacrosse and basketball and volleyball, have all moved and bounced. It's tough. It's tough to start. You hit the ground. You have to get used to the environment. You have to figure out who are your connections there. Who are the helpers? How does this work with the venue? And, all of those things. Who are our fans and how do we reach them? And so having the success that we had here and knowing that we're coming back and we know, okay, we're going to get these folks. Now, what else can we do? And how else can we engage? And I think that is probably what we felt most last night, kind of when everybody was getting this view of post, download, what is it? And it was like, hooray, we're coming back. We know what we're walking into. We know it's a positive situation, and we kind of can't wait to get started.
How big was Municipal Auditorium in the decision-making process? It just feels like, Cherie, it's just the perfect size for you all.
It's perfect. I'm going to tell you, I've lived here a long time. I mean, you know, the municipal auditorium has always been there. I've been in it. I can't say enough positive about the municipal, and it's a lot of things. It is the venue itself. So we all know it's an older venue, but thank goodness the good folks that are interested in that sit on the board there, the city of Nashville, have not let that venue become a dilapidated place that's not useful. They've continued to try to put money into it, try to upgrade it, try to keep it modernized, those types of things. And it was perfect for us. It like no other. I was talking to our operations VP, and he was telling me, he's like, it just has so many resources inside the building, and it's put together well. And we know we almost always, anywhere we go, we are going to brand it, and we're going to design our court. And that's what we did. We put up lighting, we put up the court, we brought out risers, all helped by the municipal and what they can do, their capabilities, and their incredible staff as well. Their staff is fantastic and second to none and very, very helpful. But one of my biggest things of being there was seeing people walk in from Nashville. So most people that walk into our venues do have a wow moment because it's pretty and it's fun and it's, you know, it's exciting. But the people from Nashville that walked in the municipal auditorium and said, holy cow. So I thought that was fun. We, you know, even on the windows on the outside, we had the Harrisons and we had Sid Colson. I don't know how tall those decals were, but, you know, it seemed like they were 30 or 40 feet high.
And I think that the fans here, Cherie, and Wade loves to talk about the fan experience. I was fortunate enough to get to go down Thursday night and do some post-game interviews and that kind of thing. But it feels like the fans really embrace these players and these players really embrace these fans. And that only enhances the experience, I would think.
Oh, you know, I've always said these are extraordinary. These are the elite. These are the 1% of the athletes. And when you're that good and you're playing at the professional level, they deserve to play in front of the crowd. Because if you've ever done that, if you've played at a high level and you've played in front of a crowd, there's an energy that you can't explain to people. The only way you feel that is to be there. And so, it makes you do extraordinary things, I think. So when you apply that type of atmosphere to people who are already elite at what they do, then you get these spectacular results. So I'm happy for the athletes, and they were thrilled. And that's why I think that's a lot of it, Maurice, is just that as a player, you're grateful because you know you're feeling something special in that situation. And even last night when we did the awards ceremony, post game, and I was in the production truck, but you know, a lot of times we've done some award ceremonies at times in front of a pretty sparse crowd. You know, number one, it's over, it's the second game of the night, and people, you know, are ready to go. But you know, those people were clapping, they were thrilled. You know, Izzy Harrison came up and said some words just directed at the people from Nashville and the fans, and you know, it was warm and it was welcoming. So I think they felt that, you know, the players didn't know what they were coming to. They're coming to Nashville, Tennessee. And so, you know, whatever they thought about when they got here or before they came, they really just had to experience it. And from day one, you know, there was so much positivity and so much enthusiasm from our players. So you're exactly right. The atmosphere was special, and it's only going to grow. Look, those are not, you know, it's still not, we haven't hit the mark we want to hit. We want it to be busting at the seams. We want the lines to go, you know, down the street. But to say year one in a new location that hadn't seen us before, we couldn't be happier.
Cherie Camp of Athletes Unlimited joining us here on Main Street Sports today. They have wrapped up their 2025 season here in Nashville. Maddie Siegrist was your individual champion.
some great performances, some great ball games. Cherie, I mean, on the court, obviously you knew y'all were going to deliver and certainly did. Maddie has really kind of been a fixture in this league, I guess, and for her to win that individual championship just speaks to her ability, obviously.
Yeah, and Maddie is not a flashy player by any means. She's not a flashy personality. She's very grounded. She's very thoughtful if you interview her. But she is, she can just flat play. And so from wall to wall, we saw it last year when she came into the league, and just wall to wall this year, she did really well. But I will tell you that I think this model, sometimes it's hard for people to understand the leaderboard and the quarter wins and things like that. But what the model does lend itself to consistently, day in and day out, is that the overall score doesn't dictate the intensity that you're going to feel in the game. So we came into yesterday with really statistically, Maddie was the winner, and everybody knew it Saturday night. You knew that Odyssey could not. Yes, some sort of a miracle, she could have caught her, but even Odyssey knew it was not going to happen. It just wasn't a race anymore. Maddie was too far out in front. So, but we saw one of the toughest, intense games that we saw all season long between Team Sims and Team Segrist. Right. And Team Sims ended up actually edging them out yesterday and beating them in the game overall, in spite of the fact that Maddie had already wrapped up the championship. So I think, she was the champion. So I think that what you get out of that is, regardless, nobody came and was sloughing it off. We kept, as a broadcast team, we wanted to interview Odyssey, and we thought she was going to come out of the game in the second half. And certainly in the fourth quarter. And, you saw her. She just did not take her foot off the gas. And it ended up being a very close game, and they won it. But a lot of pride in that, and really just trying to, even to the last shot and that last tick of the last second, those players are scoring points that are moving them up that leaderboard, and they get a paycheck based on where they finish. It's one of the ways they're paid is that leaderboard bonus. So they play it's all out, and they're intense, and that was fun.
Cherie Camp of AU Pro Basketball joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Cherie, thank you so much for spending some time with us. At least you know that you're going to be home for about a month or so again this time next year. That's always great, because I guess softball is next, right?
Yes. I loved being here. I appreciated it. And I was proud for, I think I said this on the show before. I was proud for the league, for Athletes Unlimited. And I was proud. This is my city. So I was really proud of that as well. But yes, we are kicking off a brand new league, AUSL. It starts June 7th. We're getting ready to announce a week from today. We're announcing the sites. Very different for Athletes Unlimited. So we do what you saw us do. We come into a town, we play the entire league in that location. This new league is a city-based model, and in its inaugural season, that it'll be kind of a barnstorm. So you're going to see 12 locations announced, and we're going to have softball, fast pitch softball with the very best athletes in the land across the entire land. So it should be really exciting, really fun. The whole thing will be televised. It's 75 games, and there will be some, I think there'll be an opportunity for fans in this area to see it live as well.
That's what we were going to ask you. You don't want to break any news right here?
Yes, I don't want to break any news, but I don't think it'll be in your backyard, but I think it'll be close enough to see.
I think I have a decent idea of where that might be then. Yeah. Hint, softball mecca in Tennessee, maybe. We'll just leave it at that. Maybe we can get you back on and you can tell us more about that once it is announced. But Cherie, we appreciate it.
All right. You guys call me anytime.
Thank you.
Cherie.
All right. Thanks a lot.
in Smashville, our opponents welcomed with some good old-fashioned Southern hospitality. We'll give you a hand, cheer you on. Hey, we'll even leave a light on.
To Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. I'm Maurice Patton. That's Wade Neely. We're coming to you from the Murphy Center site of the TSSAA Girls High School Basketball State Championships, where Northview Academy leads Jackson Southside 40-42. We just started the fourth quarter. Northview Academy up 2 here in the final Class 3A quarterfinal matchup of the day. We are pleased to have with us now the bracketologist for CBSSports.com, Jerry Palm. And I would imagine the midnight oil has been burning for Jerry here for the last couple of days as we head into Sunday and the actual unveiling of the brackets. Jerry, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. Hey, how busy are you right now?
These last few days are busy because you've got games going on all day, and people expect you to react to halftime scores. So you're laughing, but it's true.
Okay. Why haven't you updated the games at halftime?
If they lose, they're down at the half. If they lose, then what happens? Are they out? Are they in? And
Still got 20 minutes. Chill.
Because the thing about the bubble is there's nothing definite about it. If you haven't won the automatic bid, then you're at the mercy of what happens in other places. So it's, they always say, well, if they win this game, are they in? Well, maybe sometimes that's true, but more often than not, it depends on what other teams do. And you're not going to tell me what other teams do. So,
hey, I haven't said that, Jerry. If Texas comes back and beats Texas A&M, are they in? Huh?
No. Texas is a team that needed like 3 wins in this tournament just to have a good enough record to get considered. So yeah, Texas has got a problem. But A&M, that would be a nice win, but it's just one. The problem isn't that they haven't beat good teams. The problem is they just don't have enough win. They were like 4 games below 500 against the top 3 quadrants going into the tournament. So that's pretty bad. Like, you throw away your worst opponents and you're 4 games below 500. So for historical perspective, only one team has ever gotten an at-large bid that was even 2 games below 500 against that group of teams. So I don't think Texas 4 games below is going to fix that problem. And they'll be, if they win today, they're 2 games below. But if they're an at-large team, it means losing again. So, they've dug themselves a hole, and I'm not sure A&M is enough to dig out of it.
I tried to be a smarty pants, Mo. They got 7 minutes. It's not even to halftime, so I tried to jump the gun on Jerry there, and he broke it down like Jerry does.
Like
so
Jerry
that's
does, exactly. North Carolina. Does North Carolina have a problem, Jerry?
Yeah, they do. They can't beat Duke, and they can't beat anyone else. So they're 1-11 in quad 1 games. Now, not all quad 1 games are the same. Their win is UCLA. That's a good team. But 1-11, nobody gets an at-large bid when you're 1-11. In fact, nothing screams we're not an NCAA tournament team like 1-11 in quad 1 games. So
North Carolina.
Yeah, no brand name recognition.
But they're a crappy version of North Carolina. So they beat Wake Forest. That's nice. What they really need to do is beat Duke, which might be easier now with Cooper Flagg may not play. In fact, I'll be shocked if he plays against North Carolina. There's absolutely no reason for Duke to play him until the NCAA tournament, if he can go then. But certainly not before then.
You got anything? I know you got something.
Well, I was just going to agree with Jerry there. It feels like we talked about this, Jerry, on our show with Auburn yesterday. And, there's a small debate. Should they or should they not kind of maybe rest some guys and get ready for a run in the big dance, and Duke's kind of hand, it feels like, has now been forced with Flag, right? There's no way you trot him out unless absolutely necessary, right?
You know, resting guys for a playoff run makes a lot more sense in the NBA. College is just different. You know, you want to win everything in college. You know, you want to win your conference regular season. You want to win your conference tournament. You know, there's no point in resting guys and getting them rusty for a single elimination tournament. In the NBA, that makes sense. You know, you might want to get some guys some rest. They're going to play a best of 5 or a best of 7 or something. You don't want guys getting rusty in college because you've got to be ready to go right away game 1. So, no, I don't believe in any of that kind of thing applying in college basketball.
I think so. And Jerry, one team we do have to ask you about, a little off perhaps the national radar, but we just spoke to Lipscomb men's basketball coach earlier in the show, LENNIE ACUFF. You have Lipscomb kind of projected as a 13. Is there any wiggle room? I know we're asking you to kind of nail Jello to a wall here, but can Lipscomb potentially slide up or hopefully avoid sliding down, I guess, is our main concern here in Nashville.
Sorry, which team was that again?
The Lipscomb Bisons.
Oh, yeah, Lipscomb. Yeah, congratulations to them. Nashville, right?
Yeah.
One of like 17 Division I schools in Nashville.
Yeah, exactly.
What a great win for them. If I've got them as a 13, that's probably a ceiling, not a floor.
Okay.
But the thing about a 13 is you've got a game you can win. You know, if you're a 15 or a 16, yeah, those guys win once in a blue moon. But if you're a 13 or a 14, you're going to get a game that you can win. So, you know, 13 is a pretty good seed for a team like Lipscomb, and they're going to get an opponent that, you know, they've got a shot.
Jerry, you've got UC San Diego in your bracket as a 12 seed. We talked about them a little bit last week. What a fantastic story they are. They are. I would assume they are projected as the Big West champion. There's no at-large for them, is there?
No, there's not. Unfortunately, I mean, they did beat a team, San Diego State, I believe, that may or may not make the bracket. They just didn't play enough games like that. You know, it's hard when you're in the conferences like that to get the games you need, and then it's hard to win them when you do. But it's just not easy for them to try and be an at-large team. And I get asked about Drake a lot. You know, it's funny because this year, you know, people ask about bid stealers and they automatically think of the Missouri Valley, but this year that was never going to be the case. And that is true in the Big West as well. You see Irvine, another very good team in that league, but only one of them is going to the NCAA tournament, and maybe neither of them is going.
There you go. Jerry Palm of CBS Sports joining us here on Main Street Sports today, talking a little bracketology. Who is right now, Jerry, you've got Auburn, Duke, you've got Florida and Houston as your number one. Who's the most vulnerable of those four at this moment?
Oh,
is it with Flag being hurt?
No, it's Florida. If Duke loses, they're still going to be a 1 seed. Unless they rule a Flag out for the year, then that might take something. But that doesn't look like that's going to be the case. No, Florida is definitely the most vulnerable. They're 4th to begin with. Plus, they've got 2 other teams in their league right behind them. They probably have to win the conference tournament to hold that spot, although they could end up with it anyway. But if Alabama or Tennessee wins the conference tournament, that team will be the 4th number 1. So it is definitely Florida, but the other 3 look really solid.
Kind of with that being said, real quick, Jerry, any gamesmanship for Duke? If that is the case, why you wouldn't rule him out for the season, knowing that could possibly impact your seeding, would you? Is that a possibility?
Well, when you're talking about a sprained ankle, I mean, the x-rays are negative. They're not going to rule him out for the season anyway. If he had a broken ankle, that'd be different. But he's got a sprain. X-rays are negative. There's a chance he'll come back. They don't have to fudge it.
Kenyon Martin,
you're right,
from years
ago. That's the most famous case for sure. And in his case, he got hurt in the conference tournament, and they lost that game. So the committee never saw Cincinnati play without him. You know, after they practiced without him. So, that was a very unique situation. Robbie Hummel for Purdue got hurt in late February of what ended up being a conference championship run, but that was a Final Four national title favorites. Maybe not the favorite that Cincinnati was, but one of the favorites to win the national title that year. They did limp home to a national or a conference championship, but they ended up with a 3-seed resume and a 4-seed in the bracket. So we have seen teams dock a seed that lost key players. But it doesn't really happen very often, and especially that high in the bracket.
Yeah, I think to the point that you were just making, I guess the key was that they never saw Cincinnati without Kenyon Martin. At least they did see Purdue without Robbie Hummel to some degree.
Yeah, but both teams got docked a seed either way. So,
okay. All right. Your last four in, Jerry: Indiana, San Diego State, Xavier, and Boise State. And I saw Boise State is playing in a double bubble game today.
Shortly.
You feel like any of those switch spots with these first four out?
Oh, yeah, a lot could happen with that group of teams. Indiana lost already today. They lost to Oregon. That's not a bad loss, but it doesn't take much to get knocked out from there. The thing is, people look for definite answers when someone loses. It's like, are they out? It's like, well, maybe, because it's not just about you. It's about what all these other teams do too. And, these teams are together. They're packed pretty. There's not a lot of separation among these teams. So Indiana could lose and still make the tournament. Boise State's the last team in. They could lose and still make the tournament because it's going to depend on what other teams do. So once you lose, you're out of control because you don't play anymore. But just because you win doesn't mean you're in. And just because you lose, you don't necessarily mean you're out.
And with that said, particularly, we might be talking to you on a bad day because this is Thursday and there's still, 3 days worth of games to be played. So
there's 3 days worth of games to play yet today.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Hey, speaking of, Jerry, remind us the criteria. Does the committee watch the games on Sunday? Do the Sunday's games impact? I forget. And there's kind of some internet chatter whether they do or don't kind of count in the minds of the committee. Give us your kind of take on that.
They absolutely do count. And in fact, the committee will put together contingency brackets based on the results of those games. So like if they feel like they need 2 separate brackets, because that's not always the case. But let's say the Big Ten championship game is a game where the seeding of those 2 teams matters. Okay, so they'll have a bracket for each result, and then whatever the result is, they throw the other one out. And so they'll do that for all the games on that day if it's necessary, because sometimes a result may not matter. The teams are going to be seated where they are, or you've got a conference that where you're getting an AQ, and if that team's going in, and you don't have to worry about it. But for the most part, though, they've got contingency brackets for every possible result on Selection Sunday because those games absolutely do count.
I always found that fascinating because it feels like, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been this swell, hey, the games on Sunday don't count. And I just don't know how you don't have at least some factor.
Okay, well, you have to consider that's one of 35-ish games. So it may not have a dramatic impact anyway. But just because it doesn't appear to change a seed doesn't mean there hasn't been a change or that the committee decided in advance, no, we don't need to change anything based on the result of this game. But they look at it. They take it into account, and then if they feel like there needs to be a change based on the result, then they have 2 brackets, one for one result and one for the other.
Yeah. Jerry Palm, bracketologist for CBS Sports. You can find all of his work on CBSSports.com. You can follow him on Twitter at JPPalmCBS. Jerry, we appreciate your time. Again, know you're busy. Keep that coffee pumping. Get some rest when you can, and we will look for your work over the weekend, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Jerry.
Let's continue on Main Street Sports today after this break as we talk some football free agency, among other things. Stick around.
Hi, I'm Riley, a certified physician associate here at Premier Foot and Ankle Centers of Tennessee. We have a couple locations, Murfreesboro, McMinnville, as well as Franklin. We treat people of all ages. We're excited to get you back on your feet and hope we can help you today.
Call us today to schedule an appointment. We look forward to seeing you.
Because here at Premier Foot and Ankle, we believe that
the journey begins with happy feet.
You're seeing the signs too, right?
What signs?
Whether you're an athlete or a weekend warrior, when it comes to your performance, don't settle for anything less than excellence. We're proud to announce that Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint Clinic is now Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia, where we are redefining sports medicine and orthopedics. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance's team of expert sports medicine physicians understands the unique demands of your body. TOA Columbia specializes in personalized orthopedic care, offering state-of-the-art treatments for everything from sports injuries to joint replacements. Learn more at toacolumbia.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Piggly Wiggly, located in Neely's Mill Shopping Center, is Columbia's locally owned and operated Cost Plus 10 grocery store dedicated to serving the community with low prices and smiling faces. Piggly Wiggly offers fresh, hand-cut meats daily, as well as daily hot plate lunches from their deli counter. You're certain to see smiling faces and a helping hand when you're here at Piggly Wiggly. Come by and check out our fresh produce, high-quality meats, and more. Down home, down the street, we'll see you at the Pig.
Throwback Thursday continues from the Murphy Center, where Northview Academy leads Jackson Southside 51-46 with 27.5 seconds remaining in regulation. Southside getting ready to shoot the second of two free throws right here. That's Wade Neely. I'm Maurice Patton. We are wrapping up the Throwback Thursday edition of Main Street Sports today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. Let's get into the grab bag. And it's an interesting foul. As there's a lot of activity in free agency across the National Football League, want to real quick throw a shout out to Jeff Breeden and the MTSU Lady Raiders softball team. Went down to Starkville yesterday, picked up a big win over the 19th ranked Lady Bulldogs. MTSU's first win against a top 25 opponent since 2023. Freshman pitcher Layla Ammon held down a Mississippi State offense that's been averaging about 7 runs a game, limited them to 2 runs, and the Lady Raiders got a 2-run homer from Addie Edgman, her first of the season. I'm sorry, it's not her first of the season. She's hit 4 home runs in her last 6 games, apparently.
She's rolling.
Yeah.
Swinging a hot stick.
There we go. Get her up with runners on. Absolutely. Yeah, big win for Middle. Their 12th one-run game of the season. Wow. They are 6-6 in one-run games, and they improved to 10-14 on the season with that victory. Mississippi State falls to 22-4.
Wow. Big win for them, and it was close. We can debate on which one was louder. But yesterday here in the Murphy Center, the PA announces 2 scores, both involving MTSU, the women's basketball team, romping in their victory down in Huntsville.
73-46.
Got an ovation. You can make the case that when they announced the MTSU softball result that they got an even bigger ovation yesterday.
Well, I think
it was close.
It may have been bigger because I think it was less expected.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So props, to the ladies for getting it done, taking down some ranked foes. MTSU kind of, playing well to start the season, and we get another little bit of magic here in the month of March, taking down ranked teams across all sports.
Exactly, yeah. Middle continues Conference USA play, or returns to Conference USA play this weekend, as Sam Houston State will be on campus for a double dip tomorrow starting at 3 and the series finale on Sunday.
And it doesn't always happen this way, but obviously you hope, of course, knocking off a top-ranked team or a top 25 team, that gives you some extra motivation to come into your conference schedule. It doesn't always happen, but that's kind of your hope, right?
You'd like to think that there would be a little extra juice, as you like to say, for that Sam Houston State series this weekend. The Titans have been busy, and, they've got the number 1 pick. They were 3-14 last year. They probably should be busy. But when they signed the linebacker a couple of days ago, is it Cody Harmon? Is that his name? Signed a linebacker from Denver. And the idea was Cody Barton. And the idea at the time was that he was going to team with Kenneth Murray on the inside.
Yeah.
That was the idea then. Yesterday, Kenneth Murray was traded to the Cowboys. So, Titans still looking for an inside linebacker.
We've seen this, and we've talked about this, after making a lot of splashy kind of moves, which was out of the norm. We referenced that many times last year. It's kind of out of the Titans' character to make big free agent signings. Seems like they're kind of going about the business. The market dictates, obviously, what's available. And they're not getting major moves done, but they are active. So you can't accuse Borgonzi and the new regime here, as it were, of at least not trying, I suppose, because they have been very, very active. Just maybe not a lot of household names and moves getting made thus far.
Yeah, they are active. Again, that might not necessarily be names that you're familiar with. Cody Barton being one of those who they just spent $21 million over 3 years on. But they sent Murray and a 7th-round pick to the Cowboys. They got a 6th-round pick back. Interesting move to me.
Undoubtedly some salary cap shuffling going on there, trying to finagle some money around one way or the other. And feels like they probably will continue to make moves as our game goes final here.
This game just went final, like you said. You probably heard that through the mic. Northview Academy with a 55-48 win over Jackson Southside, ending the Lady Hawks season. To your point, they're going to save $7.6 million of cap space, according to Over the Cap. So there's that. But Murray's 95 tackles last year led the team. So
saw Landry move, saw Murray move. Wilson coming in and kind of taking the reins of the defense. Presumably also some of these moves are dictated by, hey, these guys were productive, but they may not quite fit the scheme that we're looking for, and we kind of like to tinker with that. That's me being at least kind of optimistic about things, I'm hoping.
There we go. While they lost Kenneth Murray, they did pick up an offensive lineman. Definitely a place of need for this team. Kevin Zeitler coming in from the Lions. And with Dylan Radens on the move, he will kind of slide in at that right guard spot. 1 year, $9 million deal for Zeitler. The 35-year-old Zeitler. He was a first-round pick of the Bengals back in 2012. He has been with the Bengals, Browns, Giants, Baltimore, and the Lions this past year again. Has played 63 of 68 possible games over the last 4 years. So, durability.
You're exactly right. That's, again, kind of one of these sneaky moves. I don't know that you're walking around Murphy Center seeing any Zeitler jerseys by any means. But this could be a guy that could, give you some run. Even at 35 years old, you're looking for durable. You're looking for guys you can count on. And, pairing him with Moore, questionable signing perhaps, but the Titans still, they went from the bottom of the barrel to kind of just slightly above the bottom of the barrel last season, it felt like. And if you can just kind of improve a little bit, it doesn't take a lot to go a long way still when we're talking about this offensive line, I feel like.
So that line right now looks like Dan Moore at left tackle, Skoronsky at left guard, a healthy Lloyd Cushenberry at center, Zeitler at right guard, and J.C. Latham at right tackle. I mean, who knows? We'll see. We'll see what that looks like once they get together. They also added a defensive lineman. We talked about Harold Landry leaving and signing with the Patriots, but Draymond Jones from Seattle has signed with the Titans. A 6-year veteran signed a 1-year, $10 million deal. He had signed a 3-year, $51 million deal with Seattle, but was released, saving Seattle $11.6 million of cap space. So, third-round pick of Denver back in 2019. Has been an interior guy for the bulk of his career, but moved to the edge this past season, which sounds interesting.
Former Buckeye, so not holding any other than that. Again, it just feels like the Titans are making, again, this is just blind optimism on my part, but it feels like they've either totally said, hey, we're not going for splashy moves. We're just going for quality guys. We might sacrifice a little bit in terms of the ceiling, for some guys that we could potentially sign, but we're also raising the floor potentially because it has been, obviously, as you said, pretty low floor.
Yeah. Again, durability. Jones played in all 17 games each of the last 2 years. I wonder,
the best availability?
It's availability.
Right. The best ability?
It's availability. There we go. Yeah. We fought through it. Yeah.
Day two fatigue setting in here. It's not all the moves though that they're making.
Well, no, that's not
just
all the moves.
Thought we were done,
but wait,
folks,
there's more.
Yeah,
absolutely, because right before we came on the air, actually, it was announced that the Titans have reached terms with former 49ers backup quarterback Brandon Allen on a 1-year deal. Details aren't necessarily available, but before spending the past season with San Francisco, he had been a backup with the Cincinnati Bengals. You know who else came from the Cincinnati Bengals? Second-year head coach Brian Callahan. Coincidence? We think not.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm super uncomfortable if I'm Will Levis, but I ain't feeling exactly great, right? You're bringing in, you're going to be fighting for the job at best next year. And now you have another potential competitor for even the backup job. It's a guy that the coach is familiar with.
And it's a guy who's familiar with the coach.
Right. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how that plays out. But, yeah, I don't exactly feel I already wasn't feeling great if I was Will Levis about the situation going into next season, but I certainly don't feel any better.
I don't feel any better at all. Now, here's a question, and one scenario is that you draft Ward, you got Allen to kind of mentor / battle him, and Levis is the odd man out.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's a legit possibility. If another QB enters the conversation via the draft, and almost undoubtedly it looks like it would be Ward in this situation here, then, yeah, you got to feel really uncomfortable if you're Levis.
Meanwhile, speaking of Titans quarterbacks, Mason Rudolph has gone back to Pittsburgh. So he has signed a 2-year deal there. In another murky quarterback situation because I don't know that they know what they're doing. Justin Fields has already signed with the Jets. Russell Wilson is up in the air where his next place will be, but it's not going to be in Pittsburgh, so they got to figure something out, but at least they've got their number 2. And a guy who could conceivably play if he has to.
That's the way that's the way that I take this if I'm a Steelers fan is At a minimum, you're getting a quality backup. And if, things don't necessarily play out and you don't land anybody, obviously there's a lot of talk swirling about Rodgers potentially coming in to the Steel City there. If that doesn't pan out, you kind of ran out of options in terms of real viable quarterbacks at this point. Yeah, Rudolph's not necessarily the worst option. And we've seen Pittsburgh play some ugly offensive football and still win some games. May not prefer it, and the fans may not want it, especially now with Najee Harris gone. But, they can get by if they need to. That's one franchise I would not necessarily hit an absolute panic button if Rudolph did see some meaningful snaps.
Rudolph led them to the playoffs in 23, right?
Been a kind of unsung hero at times.
Yeah.
And
unsung and unappreciated almost.
He's financially been appreciated, that is for sure, throughout the course of his tenure. But yeah, that's one franchise, especially the familiarity with the coaching staff. You wouldn't necessarily feel great if he's your starter going into the season, and if you don't draft a quarterback per se, but you also wouldn't necessarily feel that bad. It can be done for a franchise that kind of seemingly finds a way to always just somehow get it done.
So you're saying that he has secured the bag, though? Huh?
Bags have been secured for Rudolph, who, by all accounts, love the social elements of Nashville.
Oh, really?
There's a lot of young ladies in Nashville, I should put it to you that way, that visit, and live, and maybe now he'll have to try and find love elsewhere. We'll see on that.
Being a quarterback of the Tennessee Titans probably has its rewards.
Yeah. Good luck, Mason.
Speaking of Blue Raiders and former Blue Raiders, Charvarius Ward has apparently signed with the Indianapolis Colts.
On the move, man. It's been fun kind of watching his career these last couple of years, and this is, you walk downstairs in the tunnel, and they got, a lot of Blue Raider greats that have gotten it done at the next level. And we'll keep tabs on him, but it kind of makes you scratch your head. We don't necessarily, hey, we like you. We don't necessarily love you anymore now that you're with Indy in that sense.
Yeah, it's
you could have signed somewhere else, I guess, where I'm going with that.
The Titans could have used some secondary help. I wonder if that was ever an option for either party. But he has signed with the Colts, spent the last 3 years with the 49ers, played 12 games last year, obviously had the tragedy with his daughter last year that cut his season short. But in 12 games, had 54 tackles, 1 for loss, 7 passes defensed. In 23, he led the league with 23 passes defensed and earned second-team All-Pro and Pro Bowl honors. So he has been really productive since entering the league as an undrafted free agent, by the way, in 2018. He has tied for the 10th most passes defensed in the league.
Yeah, he's kind of been one of those guys that if you're a Blue Raider fan, you obviously have kept tabs on him. If you're a fan of the team he's been on, you've obviously kept tabs on him. If you're just a casual NFL fan, you probably don't necessarily pay that much attention or know, but he's right there on the cusp. Not quite superstar level, like a Byard in previous years. But, man, he's right there. He's been very, to use the phrase from a moment ago, durable during this time.
Durable. And it feels like that's kind of been a common thread amongst the Titans free agent signees. They've gotten guys that stay on the field. And I guess for a team that's had as much injury situations as they've had the last 2 or 3 years, that's a pretty big deal.
Yep.
So, Players Championship opened today at Sawgrass. I've not looked in on it, but I do know that they got going. So
Lucas Glover leading at the moment, and trying to see if there's already been a hole-in-one. Man, I just talked to our golf whiz, Jesse Smithy, down courtside, too. He didn't, surprised he didn't have it pulled up, but Lucas Glover sitting there at 6 under, kind of getting things going. This is kind of that unofficial major. Rory kind of got off to a little bit of a slow start, but he's picking up steam right outside the top 10, as is my guy Fleetwood. I always like to keep tabs on him. And then Scotty Scheffler slow by his standards. He's only 2 under, but he threw 11 holes. You got a feeling Scotty will maybe get things going as the day continues.
Min Woo Lee.
That's the man. Sitting there.
5 birdies on the front. 31 on the front.
Tied for second, along with Chandler Phillips and Cabillo Vegas at the moment. So it's starting to heat up. It's starting to shape up. They had the Memorial last week. Tougher course in terms of scoring. So presumably a little bit slightly easier track. And we'll see what kind of numbers get posted up. Feels like it's going to be a fun tournament to kind of really get things cranked up for the Masters in about 3 weeks.
We got some shenanigans going on down there apparently. Oh, this was during the practice round. University of Texas men's golfer was escorted out of Sawgrass earlier this week. Had an incident with Rory during the practice round. Luke Potter was attending the players with his teammates a day after winning the John Haight Invitational. Behind the 18th tee box, Potter watched as McIlroy rinsed his tee shot and then heckled him with a reference to the 2011 Masters. McIlroy hit a second drive and then walked over to a teammate, him and Potter, and asked, "Can I see your phone?" Took his phone.
Yeah.
Walked off.
Oh.
So McIlroy said, I can deal with this. Yeah, okay, I got this.
One other one, and we'll have to clip this, get Mark to run it tomorrow. Apparently, one of the Argentinians, you never know about the Argentinians, but Alejandro Tosti, that's what I'm going with at least. He did hit a hole-in-one, and he promptly jumped in the water at number 17, which I don't know that necessarily that would be my first thought. It's probably at least in the top 5.
That doesn't seem like the optimal celebratory move, but I mean, hey, if it works for you.
As long as there's no gators, jump safely. But yeah, we'll have to get, surely video will come out by tomorrow. We'll get Mark to tab that for the show.
Sad news from the world of golf. Tiger Woods a couple of days ago in working out, training, ruptured his left Achilles tendon. Adding injury to insult, I don't know, for Tiger, but typical recovery time for that is 4 to 6 months.
Oof.
The Masters is next month.
Yeah, the timing could not have been worse. Man, this really is a tough one because most of us, I think, have kind of come to grips with the fact he's not going to be competitive in really any tournament that he enters, but this is the one. This is kind of the one tournament he's had so much success, and in 2019, obviously winning. It's the one that we kind of still cling a little hope to, and it feels like he can play so well there. He still can't win it, but he can at least give you those moments that we love. And the fact he won't even be there at all, yeah, I mean, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I mean, you feel like if he can get to Sunday, he might give you some magic one last time. And I think that's what so many folks that follow Tiger are looking for, is that one last when we know it's the last.
We can't quit, Tiger. We just want one last hit, man. I mean, come on, give us that. And the CBS execs, they're a little saddened by that too. You know, that's their dream.
Absolutely. Hey, that's going to do it for Throwback Thursday here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by the Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance of Columbia. We will be right back here tomorrow at Murphy Center, starting at 2:00 for the weekend warm-up. Be sure and join us. We'll see y'all then.